My name's Drew Andrews. Welcome back to my Valheim building world. In today's episode, I am going to be changing this village and upgrading it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move this house, and I'm going to move it over here. I finished the flooring and the framing on the first house, and I made sure that the start of the roof is a meter off the ground, because if I go to this other house, you would hit your head on the ceiling for about 2/3 of the entire house, standing inside of it. So when I was putting in the walls, I realized I forgot the campfire in the middle of the house, so I added in some more framing for the ventilation. So I put in the walls, and finished putting in the walls. I also put in the roof, and because I put this X here, to be able to make it so there was not a hole up there, because there's no beam with wooden walls on it for the X's, I had to put a 1 meter beam above a 2 meter beam, so there's no hole on either side of the house. This is what the inside looks like. It's not very big, but it is cozy. I just replaced the fences around the berry farm so that no monsters can get into it and destroy the berries, because that's the worst thing ever to have happen in this game, is for your berries that you put fences around to be destroyed. Now I'm going to change this house up. And the first thing that's wrong with this house is that the door is facing the wrong direction. It's facing outwards from the village and not inwards. I think it should be facing inwards, because then it just seems better that way, you know? Alright, I tore down the house and I put in some floorboards. I put in the framing for this house, and I knew it was a little bit small. I felt like the house was small, so I extended out the sides so I have slanted on both sides. I was going to put it on just one, then I looked at that and I thought it didn't look quite right, so I put it on both sides. I built up the walls and the roof to this house. I think it looks nice. Inside, it doesn't look too big, but it feels bigger than the other house because there's this extra slope down here as well. But it's not as long as the other house was. Now it's time to move on to this house, and this house is longer than the first house, so it's gonna have more room inside of it. I removed the walls and the roof of this house, and I fixed up the flooring, added in some trim, and put in a file. I built up the framing for this house, and because it was longer, I decided to put in this decorative beam right here, and I was going to put one up here anyways, but I decided to take it down to see if it needed stability, and without it, these two beams would have broken. I just made the walls and the roof on this house, and this is what it looks like on the inside. It's a little bit bigger than the other two houses, though it could be bigger if I did more of a slanted, but I don't want this house to have that. Now it's time to fix up this house. And I'm going to make this house be the smallest house in the little village. Okay, I built this little house. I fixed up the flooring and I put the trim around. And I put the fireplace a little bit back because the house is so small. I don't think you would want the fireplace to be exactly in the middle. This is what the framing looks like for the small house. I finished the walls and the roofing on this house. Now I'm going to move on to this house. However, I think this house is way too small for me sitting on the top of the hill above all the other houses, and I want to make this house the biggest house in the village. I put in the flooring and the trim around the flooring and the fire. This house, it is 5x7. It is definitely the biggest house inside the entire village. It could be like where the village chief lives because he's up on top of the hill. I just built in the framing for the big long house. And it definitely needed these extra trusses here to be able to support the ventilation. So I built up the walls. The back here has 2 windows, and in the front I decided to move the door over a little bit just so they could have another window up here so they can look out and see all the subjects. I finished the roofing on the house, and I also used wooden shutters for the... oh no, it's gone inside. But I used wooden shutters on this window because I wanted them to be able to look out and be able to see easier instead of having a big door be in the way. But on the back windows, they do have doors on the back windows. Now it's time to work on all the details for every single building and all the outside details.
3 hours later.
It took me a few hours, but I've completed the last details, the finishing touches. This place looks way different than you saw before, but there's braziers all over the place. I got some fermenters to be barrels. I have those spouts pointing inwards so you can't really see them. I got banners on most of the houses besides that one. There was a troll that attacked, and so I had a troll head. I put a woodcutter spot over here next to this house. A whole bunch of beehives over there. I made a big pile of stone using a little trick where you put a piece of wood underneath of it, so you can put stone up looking like, make it look like it's up higher. I put a maze stone thing, whatever this is called, in the middle so it separates everything from, so everything doesn't look so big and empty. I put a little word thing here just for what's it called, decoration. Put a windmill over there. The place that has the most detail is over here, where there's the smith. I put up shields everywhere. I did the same trick where you put a piece of wood underneath of the, where you want your coal to be. I built this right here so that you could be able to access the forge. There's a whole bunch of weapons on this table here. And there's bows on this table over here. And there was a workbench over here. Inside of this house, there's not a whole lot going on in here. There's one bed, armor stand, his food spot, plus a sword and a shield up above the window. This house is a little bit more filled. It has 3 beds for 3 separate people, like maybe 2 parents and a child. A table full of food, way more than the other house. 2 sets of armor, and 2 weapons. In this house, I put down 4 beds. There's not a whole lot of room. You gotta kind of shimmy around the cauldron to not get burnt. And there's a decent amount of food on this table. Now, this is the blacksmith's house. He has 2 sets of armor on the outside. He's the only house who does not have armor on the inside, but that's because it's on the outside because of his job. And there are 4 beds in here, all shoved in the back. And a good amount of food on the table as well. The last house, the biggest house, has red jute carpet over the entire floor. There is 5 beds, well, not technically 5, but like a double bed plus 3 more beds, and 5 sets of armor for each individual inside the house. A table of 6 chairs, but there's only stuff out for 5 people, and a whole bunch of stuff in the middle. And they also have some treasures, being the leaders of the village. You probably noticed by now, but I did also put walls around the entire village, which was a good thing because a troll attacked and it only did minimal damage. This is how the village looks at night. I really enjoy and like how it looks at night. I think the lighting is really good. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like. If you want to see more, also please leave a like. It'd be fantastic if you left me a sub sandwich. Comment down below what you think I should build next time. I'll see you guys later, and goodbye.